Welcome to another edition of Mr. T's Algebra Breeze. And what I'm going to show you today is the sign tricks for when you're factoring trinomials. Many people can factor a trinomial, but they have difficulty with the signs that they would actually place in the factorization down below. And what I'm going to show you first is when you have a positive as the last sign in a trinomial. We're going to use this trick, just looking at the last sign in the trinomial, to figure out which signs we place in our parentheses when we factor. So let's start with something like this. Let's take x squared minus 10x plus 25. All right, so now I am assuming you're at the point where you can pretty much figure out the numbers that you would place in the two parentheses you place below. To get the x squared, by now you should know x times x. And then we look at the 25. Now we could either do a 1 times 25 or a 5 times 5 to get a 25. All right, but we have to get a 10 when we add or subtract the numbers we pick. So with a 1 and a 25, I can't get a 10 by adding or subtracting, so forget that. But now with a 5 and a 5, I can get the 25. And if I add the two 5s, I can easily get a 10. So let's pick that 5 and that 5 and just place them right here. All right, but at this point, many students get confused and they end up sometimes just guessing at which signs, pluses, minuses, go in the parentheses. But all you really need to do is you need to look at this last sign right here. And if this last sign is a plus, all you need to do is take the sign right here and place it in both parentheses. Put the minus there and also put that minus here. It's as if you're just dropping that sign in the middle down into both parentheses. And I'm calling that the middle sign because there's an invisible plus here that most people don't write. So there's our first sign, second sign, or middle sign, whatever you want to call this one in the middle. And that's our last sign right here at the end. So look at that last sign first. And if it's a plus, whatever's here in the middle, just place it in both parentheses, and that's your factorization. That's absolutely positively correct. Now, let's take a look at another one. And why don't we just do something with, how about a plus 5x in the middle? And a plus 6 right here. All right. So if we take and put our parentheses down here, of course, you would always check for a greatest common factor first before you start to factor. But there's no greatest common factor here. And again, let's put the x and let's put the x. Okay, so again, with the 6, I can do 1 times 6 and I can do 2 times 3. All right, so which do we pick? Because this one's kind of tricky. With the 1 and the 6, I can subtract those and get a 5. And with the 2 and the 3, I can add those and also get 5. But remember the sign trick. Whatever's at the end, this plus right here, look at that first. That plus tells you to take the middle sign and place it automatically in both parentheses, like that. So let's try the 1 and the 6. So 1 times 6, yeah, that definitely gives me 6 here. But if I take a look at the outers, 6x, and the inners, 1x, that adds up to 7x. So do I change my signs? No, because the sign trick always works. Plus at the end, whatever's here, just bring it down, drop it right into that parenthesis, drop it right into that set of parentheses. You know the signs are correct. My numbers are wrong. The 1 and the 6 appear as if they don't appear. I mean, I simply can't get them straight. So take a look at the 2 and the 3. Let's put the 2 here and the 3 here. All right, so 2 times 3, we get the 6. And then the outers, 3x, and the inners, 2x, adds up to positive 5x. So that works perfectly. Now, when I say outers and inners, I'm using the FOIL method, but whatever method you use to multiply these back together, there's several different methods. Look for another edition of Mr. T's Algebra Breeze, and I'll show you all the ways to multiply two binomials together, which may be something that you may have been stuck on initially. And even if you're a little shaky on multiplying these together, there's different ways to do it that may make more sense. But we'll stick with the sign trick for right now. So let's take a look and see what happens when we have a minus at the end. All right, a little bit different scenario. And we're not going to use the same technique. When there's a minus at the end, it's a whole different ballgame. So let's try x squared minus 3x. Yeah, minus 18. Okay, so now we have a negative as the last sign. Okay, so I'm looking at this. There's that negative. And if I start to work on the numbers here, there are a few to pick from. I could again do 1 times 18. I could do 2 times 9 and 3 times 6. So I've got to get a 3 by either adding or subtracting the factors I pick. So with a 1 and an 18, there's no way I can add or subtract to get a 3 in the middle. Neither with the 2 or a 9. There's just no way. But with a 3 and a 6, I could do 6 minus 3 or 3 minus 6 and get either a positive or a negative 3 in here. But let's just put the 3 and the 6 down. And then here's what you do when you have a minus at the end. Okay, again, don't think that you do the same thing we did before and just pick up that minus and put it in both parentheses. You only do that when you have a plus at the end. But when you have a minus at the end and a minus in the middle here, whatever's in the middle goes with the bigger number down below. So I've got a 3 and a 6. 6 is obviously bigger. So the minus goes there. And a plus goes here. Whenever you have a minus at the end, you know you have to have a plus times a minus or a minus times a plus. But people get them reversed. They put them the wrong way. Look at the middle sign, and that middle sign will always go with the bigger number that you have down below. All right, so let's try another one because this one's a bit trickier to get in your head. All right, while I'm jotting this down, minus at the end, you're going to have a plus and a minus. You're going to have two different signs. The only way you can get a minus 18 or a minus whatever you have at the end there is having a plus times a minus or a minus times a plus. But then you look at the middle sign and that goes with a bigger number. So a little trickier to memorize, a little bit trickier to get in your head, but get that in your head and you'll have no more trouble doing these problems here. And let me make this one a 7 right here. And we'll make this one a minus 30. Okay. All right. So looking at the 30, I can pick 1 times 30. I can pick 2 times 15. Just give me a couple of whole numbers to give me that 30. How about 3 times 10? And even 5 times 6. Geez, did I miss any? I think we're good. All right, so I need a 7. I have to somehow add or subtract the proper factors to get a 7. I can't get a 7 out of that any way I try. 2 and 15, nope, I can't get a 7 out of that. A 3 and a 10, yeah, definitely. I can get a 7 out of a 3 and a 10. If I do 10 take away 3 or 3 take away 10, I'm going to get a 7. But with a 5 and a 6, no. So let's just plunk the 3 and the 10 in here. All right, so one more time. Minus at the end, negative at the end. I've got to have two different signs. I've got to have a plus times a minus or a minus times a plus. Let me put the x's in here. And the sign in the middle, that sign goes with the bigger number. So 10 is the bigger number, bigger than 3. So the other one just automatically gets the minus. All right, try that out. Multiply that all back together, and you will get back to the original problem. Guaranteed that the signs are correct. Minus at the end, you got to have two different signs. You got to have two different signs. And whatever's in the middle just goes with the bigger number. That's all there is to this sign trick. But let's try one more, because some of these, there's always a tricky one here or there that we need to do. Not really terribly tricky. You've probably seen this several times in your class or your Zoom class or face-to-face class at some point. But let's just try x squared minus 4, okay? All right, now this minus here, is that our last sign, or is that the middle sign? I mean, I've only got a first sign right here, but what is this? Well, this is your last sign. Your last sign is in front of the constant. There's no x here. What happened to the middle term? Well, it's a 0x. So you could actually rewrite this as x squared plus 0x minus 4. Many teachers have you do that. So my last sign is a negative. Okay, so I'm going to do x times x. And with the negative, I know I've got plus minus, but let me figure out the factors that I could possibly use. So 1 times 4, I need a 0. I can't get a 0 either adding or subtracting a 1 and a 4. But a 2 and a 2, yeah, I can subtract those and definitely get a 0. So let's use a 2 and a 2. All right, so minus at the end. You've got to use a plus, then a minus, or a minus, then a plus. And in the middle there, I just put a plus 0x. So we could say that this plus goes with a bigger number, but they tie. They both tie. So in this case, it doesn't matter. You could put a plus here, then a minus there, or you could actually put the minus first and then the plus second. And in this case, it really doesn't matter because there isn't a bigger number. The twos tie. So you can put the minus plus either way you like and multiply this back together. It's guaranteed to be correct. But just keep in mind, in this case, you know, there's a 0x in the middle. So minus at the end means a minus times a plus, you know, two different signs are a plus times a minus. And since the only factors you have down here tie, it doesn't matter if this plus goes here or there and the minus in the other spot. All right, keep watching for Mr. T's Algebra Breeze, trying to make algebra a breeze for you. Thanks for taking a look, and you know, stay tuned and dig around for a few other of my my videos, and things should be good.